Good morning. This is Angela with Today's a Cup of Tea. Again, I'm going to sort of touch a little bit on another topic that's really, actually, it's very universal and it's year round, but because we're at the end of year holidays, I can see how it comes up and the question might come up. So, we are in the end of year holiday season, Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, Ramadan, Yule, you name it. Solstice, Wiccan stuff. And you know what? We're all celebrating. In some way, we're all celebrating our spirituality. And everybody, many people might ask, well, how can we all be right? How can our celebrations be different? How can we have all this, all these different celebrations and yet still be right? Because again, now right and wrong, number one, has been created by the ego. Because the ego had to create some sort of hierarchy, and again, we're working on this duality that we're in the process of eliminating and getting to the point of elimination. So in doing that, we created the concept of right or wrong. And if you look at it from the perspective that the divine, whatever you want to call it, God, creator, spirit, universal life force, and there's, a zillion others, as well as, ascended masters, archangels, and angels, and just all different levels of beings and stuff. If you look at it from the perspective of we have created this existence for purpose of pretending we're separate, of pretending we're different, pretending we're individuals, and creating individual, personas and individual pieces of us, and then you go back to the thought that we are all one, and we are all the divine. We're all part of it, and we're all just pieces of the divine with the spark of the whole within our souls. Then it's easy to truly step back and look at the fact that there are so many infinite faces to the divine. There are infinite ways for the divine to show itself to us, to remind us that it's there every day, to remind it that it's within ourselves every day. Our perception has gotten so tunneled. We've gotten such tunnel vision on, we must perceive the divine this way, that we've segregated it and we've pulled it out of in many respects, pulled it out of our everyday lives. We've pulled it out. So people starting on their journey of spiritual awakening, one of the biggest things that I've found in working with others right now on doing this is the assimilation of the spirituality into everyday life, because we have segregated it. And in essence, in doing that, we've segregated how we perceive the divine, how we perceive, like I said, whatever you want to call it, God, spirit, creator, and there's other names. Because in essence, that is the oneness. It is love, it is oneness, it is God, creator, spirit. I call creator, makes it easy. And it's just a zillion infinite ways for the divine to show, to remind us that it's there, to remind us, to keep us in that, to not get so separated that we forget that we're part of that. So that translates over into a lot of things. Number one, again, it translates into how we've gotten into the habit of separating our spirituality with our everyday life in many respects. Okay, I go to work and I'm doing work. Spirituality doesn't belong in work, right? And or if you want to even go to, say, a religion and say I go to church. Okay, well, I go to church on Sunday. Yeah, okay, I did that. Check that off my list. And then we go back to everyday life. Well, and I went through this myself when I was going through what I call my grand awakening, and when I was adjusting, it took me a full year and a half to come into the realization and to accept and assimilate all of the divine within my everyday life, and to accept that my spirituality was my life, is my life, that it is every part of me, that everything that I do is a part of it. So then you shift your thinking. When you start doing that, you shift your thinking and you shift your perception of everything into Everything is part of the divine. Every part of my life is part of the divine. And then you understand that quote that says, we are not humans having a spiritual experience, we're spirits having a human experience. That is so true. And so then you take another step. You take another step to that discussion on having individual paths up the mountain to enlightenment, that we have all part of the existence, and the fun of this existence has been such individual paths that no two paths are exactly the same, because we have chosen this huge range of experiences of all these things we wanted to try out, that we wanted to experience as the divine, and say, well, okay, from this perspective, I'm going to do all of this, and then I'm going to find my way back home. I'm going to find my way back home after I'm done with all of this. I'm going to remember my way. Remember that I've never left, first of all. Remember that I've never left, that I never separated, that it was just a facade, that was just a game, in essence. And every part of us, every piece and part of us, in this really super complex, hugely amazing, magnificent game that we created, is all part of it, that it has never been separate from it, that we are all the divine. So you see how that circles back around? So when you look at it from that perspective, how much easier is it to understand that? Obviously, there are going to be a zillion different ways of seeing spirituality. There are going to be a zillion different ways of accepting, of coming back home, of coming back to the remembrance of the fact that we are the divine, and that we can tap into it, that we have full access to it at all times, and that we've created all of this. And that's huge. Yet it's so simple at the same time. But a lot of this, I found, is truly that way. It's so oversimple and it's huge, and yet we've made it so complex and complicated that it's been a way to choose to forget. It's bogged our mind down, bogged our ego down with all these details, and then we're like, oh well, yeah, see, we have all this other stuff, we can't be connected. No, all that other stuff is being connected, is part of the divine. So, in essence, when people ask me if I'm Christian and somebody else is Buddhist and somebody else is Jewish and somebody else is Muslim and somebody else is, I don't know, whatever they call things these days, New Thought spirituality and Zoroastrianism and Tao, and there's just a Wiccan, and there's just so many different paths, and there are so many unnamed paths, and basically every individual has their own path. So you can't really put a name on all of it, except that we put a name on ourselves, and that's sort of the way we track our individual paths. And groups of us have the same kind of area of experience, and we have very similar paths. That's sort of how we group together. And then as we get closer, excuse me, as we get closer to the top of the mountain, then we do the same thing. And we get into bigger groups, and then what happens essentially is then we become back into one. So as we're in these lovely holidays at this time of year, and we're so much more loving, and again I go back to that, this is a lesson in remembering to love each other and remembering to totally respect each other and look at each other as other parts of ourselves and saying, wow, this is so cool, so unique, we're all so unique, and we've all created this, and we're all coming back to the same place. We're all remembering that we never left home. And there are all these steps to that, and we created that. But there's no wrong and there's no right. It's all right. It's all the right path. It's all the path that we're supposed to be taking. It's all the path we plan to take. So on that, our clearing for today is to get Creator's truth and understanding and all of that and clarity on being able to see the many faces of the divine, of the many faces of the divine, and what the perception of that is versus the reality. And to pull all beliefs that are related to, I must only see God, Creator, Spirit, the divine in one way, or it is only right to see God, Creator, Spirit in one way, or a few ways. to pull those beliefs and to replace them with the divine is in everything. The divine is in all of us, that all paths are correct, all paths are right. And I can see the faces of God. I can see the faces of the divine in everything around me, in every person, every path. And then we're going to resolve, dissolve, release, and clear all agreements that have, all etheric agreements, binding agreements that have caused us to believe that the divine can only be seen one way, or that the divine can only be part of one part of our lives. And thank all parties involved, open the doors to apology and forgiveness in all directions, remove it from ourselves, remove that energy and memory of it from ourselves, as well as any self-limiting thoughts, words, and actions from that, transform that back to Creator's light, send it back to Creator, close those receptors and open new ones, and just saturate them with the highest vibration of Creator's unconditional love. And also to download all the feelings associated with being able to see all the faces of the divine, to be able to see the divine in all of us and everything, and that we're worthy and deserving and able to, that it's possible, allowed, okay, safe to, that we're ready, willing, and able to. We have that in our lives right now, and that we know how to access it, and we can access it right this moment. Everything related to that, so that we can get a full perspective and full understanding and opening to the divine and seeing the divine in everything, including ourselves. And then we're going to write that off as complete in the Akashic records. We're going to heal, resolve, clear the timelines in all directions to infinity with the platinum and violet flames. And then we are going to offer to all ancestors and descendants as they so choose. So all you need to do is take a deep breath, clear your mind, and say, yes, faces. And that's it. Have a great weekend. This is Angela. See you next week. This is Angela with Today's a Cup of Tea.